Wes Jackson. I'm here with the convo.
Good morning.
Good morning. So today we're going to be discussing the South Bronx as a physical place in the early days of hip hop. I wanted you to talk about what it was like growing up in the Bronx and where specifically did you live?
Okay, where I lived in the northern part of the Bronx, close to Yonkers, and I was born in the South Bronx actually. So let me start there. I was born in the South Bronx. I was born about 160th Walton Avenue. Then later on we moved to the Grand Concourse. So I was like a couple of blocks away from Yankee Stadium.
What was it like growing up in the Bronx in the early days of hip hop, and how did that affect you?
It was everywhere. You know, like hip hop in the early '80s. It was everywhere. And you didn't think about it. You didn't think about it like, like now you have an artist, a hip hop artist or a pop artist, and they're untouchable to like you wouldn't even think about where they live. You wouldn't think that you can walk down the street and see them, or that they might be even related to somebody you know. Where, in the early '80s, because regular people, because two days ago, they were just walking down the street. They were nobodies, and they just happened to get a deal. So, it was just very readily accessible.
So let's talk about the Queens Bronx beef, okay? As you know, there was an issue centered around the Boogie Down Productions and the legendary Juice Crew, all right? Speak about it from a geographical and residential standpoint, and, how you experienced that conflict.
Geographically,
Right.
if you were from the Bronx, you couldn't go to Queens at that point. You couldn't you couldn't go to a party in Queens looking like you were from the Bronx and repping the Bronx. You certainly couldn't be in Queens and do that in the Bronx.
Oh, no.
You can go to neutral places
Like Manhattan.
like Manhattan, and then there'd be a fight at the club, or there would, usually there would be some sort of conflict once those two people, those two groups came head to head, and or one of those records came on and those people had to represent. It could have, Run DMC and Ella were bigger than this at the time, but imagine if they would have said, yeah, we're down, we're Queens rappers, to hell with these Bronx rappers. Like that could have just made it, on one level, a much more dangerous thing, but on another level, it could have upped the commercial value